Let's get this all set up. We are live on all the platforms right now, including Twitter, which is kind of weird. But yeah, we're here. Trying to get the addresses going on right now so we can get everything going. So we're sending out the tweet right now. There's nobody else in here, but it's okay. Anyway, so how's everybody going? Welcome to My Thoughts Live. How you guys doing? Oh man, we've had a lot of craziness going on. I'm just enjoying my I'm enjoying the whole reality of pissing people off. It's getting entertaining. Twitter's picking up. Pretty soon you'll be able to subscribe, and there's going to be special videos over there that you'll be able to see. But we have got a lot of craziness going on. Ron DeSantis running for president. Okay? And with him running for president, and then we got Nikki Haley, who's running for president, which is entertaining to me because she's an idiot. As far as I'm concerned, I'm not actually a fan of them. The reason why I'm not a fan of them is, and it's not because I'm like, oh God, diehard Trump supporter. It's got nothing to do with that. The issue with the situation is what she said, and they had an interview on CNN, which I don't understand why CNN's even doing any interviews with Republicans. And it's funny because these new Republicans that are running, it's like kind of like fresh meat for CNN. It's actually amazing. You know, and CNN has always had a problem with Ron DeSantis from the beginning with the quote-unquote, don't say gay bill. Now, you all know my feelings on all that stuff over on Twitter. You have seen my rants and my raves about that stuff on Twitter. I'm not a fan of any of this stuff that's going on. I'm not a fan of promoting transitioning kids and this stuff like that. These things are stuff that we were never... that we never talked about when I was younger. You know, I mean, we didn't really have to worry about any of that. And it's just entertaining to see what the world's become around everything. You know, like one of the main things is the Bud Light effect has been happening a lot to a lot of businesses, and it's really entertaining to watch that as well. And the reason why I figure that's entertaining is because what happened with Bud Light. Now, like, let's get it clear so I can clear the air a little bit here and let people realize what I meant with the whole situation. Okay, the situation was not the fact that Dylan Mulvaney was being sponsored by Bud Light. I could care less. You know, she's gonna do what she wants to do and whatever. You know what I mean? And I'm only going to respect her saying that, you know, because she's got to admit she's already been through enough. You know what I mean? With all the crap that's going on. But, you know, this was mostly her own fault. But at the end of the day, the thing that happened with, like I said in the last video, with the Bud Light situation, which I don't want to touch on craziness that much, but the Bud Light situation was the fact that it wasn't the fact that it was a transgender. Now there are going to be some Catholics and there are going to be some Christians that are going to be like, oh my God, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. You know what I mean? You're saying this. You weren't saying that a minute ago, blah, blah, blah. All that crap. You know what I mean? But that's not the situation. The situation is Dylan Mulvaney's audience is mainly children. That's the problem. That is the main issue with everything with the whole situation with the Bud Light. Is literally his audience is 90% kids, which leads me to believe that Bud Light was literally promoting alcohol to minors, which they shouldn't be doing. And that's the way, that was the whole thing that I got all mad about. It wasn't Mr. Dylan Mulvaney, or Mrs. Dylan Mulvaney, whatever you want to call her. It has nothing to do with her whatsoever. I don't care. So, we're not going to go on. We're not going to go on a rant on that, because I already talked about that in the last video. I don't want to talk about it again. But that was to clear the air also on Twitter with people, so people know what my actual feelings for the whole Bud Light boycott was. And the Bud Light effect is taking effect on everything right now. As you saw in the beginning of the week, Microsoft Xbox decided they were going to turn around and put the rainbow, pride, whatever, inside their logo. Okay? Now, they did that for all of one night. One night. That's it. And then the next day they changed it back to the new Xbox logo, the one with the fire and stuff like that. They completely changed it. And the reason why they did that is because they started seeing their numbers slip immediately. This is what happens when a boycott for a big company happens, and then other companies try to do the same thing, and then boom, their stock values start plummeting, which kind of makes me laugh. You know what I mean? But I'm not going to sit here and, demonize it, but they just did it as quick as possible. They're like, okay, get rid of that logo. And there's a lot of companies, several companies have gotten rid of the whole Pride logo. And it's safe to say at this point right now, with the way things that are going, is that people are getting sick of Pride Month in general. And it's not against the gays. It's not against the whole gay community. It's got nothing to do with the gay community. I know one gay community I'm very close to. They're called Gays Against Groomers on Twitter. You should check them out. Twitter.com/Gays Against Groomers. Go over there, check them out. You know what I mean? And you'll understand what the gay community, the part of the gay community that I care about. All this crap that is going on right now is a direct effect of people's minds being bent into this reality where they think that this is the way they should be, or they're not going to be cool if they don't act the way they want to act, or act the way the Pride community is acting, or the way Black Lives Matter is acting, and stuff like that. And Antifa, which we all know that Black Lives Matter was not solely responsible for most of the stuff of the riots. It was actually Antifa. They just antagonized Black Lives Matter, and Black Lives Matter went nuts. But it's a direct effect of what is trending, is the key word here, trending. Okay? So what's trending right now is claiming, and I'm not lying, and I'm going to say it bluntly, because you know me, I don't care. I'll say what I want. And how many minutes are we into the video? We're into the video 8 minutes, so I can swear all I want now. But my thing with the whole situation is that's the problem with people nowadays, is they put their life so much online that they have to stay within the trends. And there are some people that are jump into the trend and the algorithm literally just to get views on social media. And I've climbed and scratched and clawed on social media forever, but I have a good enough community, good enough followers across all my platforms. I have 3 websites that are over 4,000 people each website. I just finally hit the 500 and something mark on Twitter. Thank you to all those Twitter people and the e-girls who just randomly added me, and it's cool. The e-girls gave me numbers to bring me up to where I wanted to be, so that way I could actually continue forward with what I want to do with the Twitter platform. Now, what Elon Musk has done is he's turned the Twitter platform into something that's actually worth a damn again. But I just hope he doesn't follow this stupid CEO to her grave. That's one thing I hope she doesn't do. He doesn't do, because she's going to wind up trashing his whole company. But one of the things with the whole situation, on Twitter is the new CEO, is part of the World Economic Forum, or whatever you want to call it. She's part of that. She is on board with all this woke garbage, and she's trying to infect it into Twitter again. Elon Musk is stopping it, but he's going to need help along the way. People are going to have to help him stop these idiots and these dumb censors from screwing around with his platform. You know what I mean? And like, it's not going to be an easy fight for Elon Musk. And I've said this before. Like, anytime I mention it, I say it to people all the time. It's like, Elon Musk has got a huge hill to climb. He's got a huge hill to climb. And every time he climbs a little bit more up the hill, he gets kicked back down the hill more. So he has to keep going up the hill and trying to go up, and then he gets knocked back down, go back up, knocked back down, go back up. The guy's a billionaire. He doesn't care. He can literally let Twitter just burn in hell and not even give a crap. It's not going to affect him any. You know what I mean? But the situation is the people he chooses to be around is the problem. Like, one of my main issues with Elon Musk is this whole China issue, where he's crazy about China. Okay? He does a lot of business with China, and, you know, he's in with that little clique of the China stuff, and China is a cancer to America. You guys right now, currently, the people that are just coming over to the other side of politics are realizing that the main issue is not Vladimir Putin. It has nothing to do with him. There's no issue with him. Okay? Vladimir Putin is just doing his thing. That's it. He's just being Vladimir Putin. That's it. And the problem, the real issue, and the real ghost in the corner, the shadow in the corner that nobody is paying attention to, is China. And that's the problem. You know what I mean? Nobody's paying attention to what China is capable of doing and what they're trying to do. They have already infiltrated us economically. They've taken over farms in the United States. They've taken over businesses in the United States, and nobody's doing anything about it because everybody that works in Washington, D.C., whether it be senators, presidents, vice presidents, congressmen, and women, are sitting here and turning a blind eye to what China's actually doing. They're buying up every farmlands in the United States. Bill Gates is buying up farmland left and right from people, causing people to not be able to work anymore and stuff like that. But everybody's got their eyes turned on Vladimir Putin. Like, the ghost, the evilest dude on the planet is Vladimir Putin. No, guys, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, the evilest person on the planet is Joe Biden. And the second evilest person on the planet is Hunter Biden. As you saw that release of all the pictures he had. Yeah, both those girls were minors, just to let you know. So yeah, that's the situation there. But nobody's paying attention to that either. They're turning a blind eye to that as well. This kind of stuff has been happening for years, and it's now coming to a point where it's actually coming to a head, and people are actually seeing for themselves what's actually going on, but nobody is actually doing anything about it. See, it's one thing to see everything that's going on, but it's another thing when you don't do anything about it. You know what I mean? If you don't react to something that you don't want that you don't want to happen, it's gonna blow up in your face, and that's it. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things where, you know, there are things that we should be paying attention to, but right now they got our attention diverted on different things like transgender rights and this, that, the other thing, and they keep cramming that down our throat. You know, every stumble that Joe Biden has, whether he falls or something like that, any of that stuff is literally just being swept under the rug. And it's worse because it's right in front of us. We watched Joe Biden fall the other day. We watched him fall. And then he says that somebody put a sandbag in front of his foot and made him fall. And then if you zoom in on the camera, he's got magnets on his shoes. Why does he have magnets on his shoes? The only reason why that would be on his shoes is for balance. It's the only reason why they would be there. So one day we should just take those shoes that have the magnets on them and have him wear regular shoes and see what he can do. See if he can actually walk. Guarantee you he actually can't. We've put in office senators that can't even make a sentence anymore, and a disgusting senator. I don't even remember his name because I don't care so much. But he's on the Congress floor in shorts and a hoodie when he should be wearing nice clothes when he's in our nation's capital, but he's not. And people are just letting this stuff just happen. And it's just entertaining to see how blind everybody is. And then we got Ron DeSantis and Nikki Haley, who have confirmed basically that they are literally promoting the war between Russia and Ukraine. And I don't care what anybody says. Okay? We are defending the Ukrainian border, but we're not defending our own border. It's pretty embarrassing to see that we're just letting whatever happen in our country, people coming in our country left and right, illegally, getting sent to wherever in the United States with no issues. And we're sending billions and billions of dollars to protect Ukraine's border. Why is it magically, and here's another thing I like to bring up all the time, is why is it magically that all of a sudden we care about Ukraine? Could you explain that to me? Why do we care about Ukraine all of a sudden? We didn't care about Ukraine when Trump was president. We didn't care about Ukraine when George Bush Jr. was president. We didn't care about Ukraine when Bill Clinton was president. And we didn't care about Ukraine when Obama was president. Why do we care now? Well, there's a reason behind that. The reason why we care now is because everybody wants to protect the mighty Joe Biden. Because Joe Biden is just using this whole Ukrainian thing to protect his stupid son. Which, by the way, after that footage release and all those pictures released, thank God most of that stuff was blurred. You know what I mean? You know, when I'm doing stuff like this and political commentary and things like this and podcasts and things like that, when I have to look into stuff like that, I get disgusted. I'm sorry. Both of those girls were minors, dude. And nobody said anything about it. They just batted an eye to it and said, oh, well. If you thought that, what would happen if those pictures came out just before Joe Biden was running for president? What would have happened? I want you to put that in the comment section, and I want you to tweet me that on Twitter. And tell me, what would have happened if they released all those thousands of photos, it's like thousands of them, if they released all those thousands of photos just before Joe Biden announced he was running for president? What would have happened? I can guarantee you that he would not be currently president right now. And then we have issues where our Congress, which is finally taken over by Republicans, which doesn't help because they're all just establishment Republicans anyways. It's like throw the ball to the Democrats for a little while and then throw the ball back to the Republicans. Nobody's actually doing anything in Congress. They just sit around and do nothing. And, you know, somehow spend one term in Congress and become billionaires. It's amazing how that happens, you know what I mean? When especially as a congressperson, a congressman, a woman, you only get paid like, it's only like $130, $140, maybe $200,000 a year to be in the Congress. That's literally, why are these Congress members making millions and millions and millions of dollars a year? Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez has never been in Congress before, ever. She's on what, her second term? I think she's on her second term. Yeah, she's on her second term now, okay? Why is she a billionaire already? It doesn't make any sense. None of it makes any sense. And the reason why it doesn't make any sense is because everybody's turning a blind eye to what's going on in Washington. I honestly don't really care what's going on in Washington, but I do care when it starts hitting my state, which it has. It's starting to hit Massachusetts. Massachusetts is starting to feel the federal government's dumb decisions. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of issues going on in Massachusetts because of that. And nobody cares. And then you see things like what's going on in California. You see things what's going on in New York. You're seeing all this crap happen everywhere in all those states. And nobody, welcome in, Jasmine. How you doing over on Twitter? Oh, and she left. Well, she left anyway, so whatever. Yeah, it's whatever. That's because it was an ego. That's the problem. But whatever. It gave me followers, so I care less. You know what I mean? But everybody's turning a blind eye to everything that's going on around them. Nobody's paying attention, and everybody's so worried about transgender rights and all this crap that's going on. Nobody understands that a new group of people has invaded their way into the gay community, which is the MAPS, which is the minor attracted persons. This is another thing that is trying to get into the gay community. They're trying to become part of the gay community, and nobody's started. You don't think that's kind of weird? That, like, first off, the gay community is huge. It's okay, whatever. You know what I mean? But why all of a sudden, now that the attention is strictly put on the transgenders, let's look at it from that perspective. If everything's put on the transgenders right now, the spotlights, what about the rest of the gay community? It's like nobody cares about the rest of the gay community. Now, here's the problem. I will be the first one to admit I voted yes in Massachusetts on gay marriage. I did. I voted yes. But that was when there was the lesbian, gay, and bisexual, and that's it. Now, most of the people that I know from that community are lesbian, gay, or bisexual. I don't pay attention to the transgender end of that community, except a couple people that I actually care about. Otherwise than that, I don't pay attention to everything else that's getting added into that community. Now, here's the problem that the gay community hasn't realized yet. And I'm sorry, I have to bring it to you in a mean way, but I have to bring it to you and tell you what's going on. You are being infiltrated from the inside out. Okay? When you guys proposed gay marriage, everybody in my state was on your side. Everybody in most of the, in about, 43 of the states unanimously voted yes on the gay marriage. We voted yes on it. There was no issue whatsoever. And now, I'm not like one of them crazy conservatives that's like, oh my God, the gay community is a sin. I don't care. Honestly, I don't fucking care about religion. Religion is a waste of time. Religion is an establishment thing that you are supposed to abide by, which there's no excuse to. There's no reason to. Who cares? You do what you want. Now, most of the old Republicans are heavily against the gay community. I'm not. That's the worst part. You know what I mean? I'm not against the gay community. I don't mind the lesbians. I don't mind the gays. And I do not mind the bisexual people. But every other part that keeps infiltrating into the gay community is the problem. And you guys don't understand that. That's the problem with the gay community. You guys don't understand that you have been infiltrated from all angles. You know what I mean? And that brings me back to a little tweet that I got the other day that I saw. It came up in my timeline because it's someone I follow on Twitter. She literally asked one question, and everybody on that looked at that tweet was stunned at the question. And the simple question was, and I quote me if I'm wrong. If you find out if I say the question wrong, just tweet me and I'll correct it and I'll say sorry to everybody about it. But what her question was, one simple question, 30-second video she put up, and it's got so many views right now, it's ridiculous. You know what I mean? But it's true. It's an honest question. Why is it that men that are transitioning to women are so anxious to get into the male's bathroom, to the female's bathroom, but why on the other end of that question was, why is the female to male transitions not trying to get into the men's room? Because believe it or and it was one of those like questions that just hit me. You know what I mean? It like hit me in the face. I'm like, dude, that's a real serious question. That's actually a decent question. All right? And she just put it out as just a simple little question. And that question hit me, and I was like, I'm going to do a video because I got to talk about this shit. You know what I mean? But seriously, like, it's the truth. Why are there no female to male transitioners trying to get into the men's bathroom? Because they don't want to. That's the thing. Whether they're transitioning from female to male, or they're going to stay female, whatever they're going to do, they do not want to go into the men's room. Okay? So why all of a sudden are the female to male male to female transitioners trying to get their way into the women's bathroom, women's locker room, women's sports? These are the questions that nobody wants to answer. Everybody's floating over them like, oh, we're not going to answer that. When I saw that question, it hit me like a brick. Like a brick in my face. It literally hit me. I was shocked. I was like, wait a minute. Why hasn't anybody asked that question? But it's a serious question. There are no female to male transitioners that are trying to get into the men's bathroom or the men's locker rooms. But all the male to female transitioners are trying to get into the women's room and the women's locker room. This extends back to the original boyhood dream, the original young child dream, or young boy dream, or young teenager dream of being able to peer into a woman's locker room. Okay? The only difference is they've taken the gay community, used the gay community against itself to turn around and get their way into the women's locker rooms, into the women's bathrooms. And there have been numerous cases, and I don't care if anybody hates this or not, but there have been numerous cases of the male to female transitioners raping women in those women's rooms and raping women in those women's locker rooms. Okay? And the other thing is too, they can't handle them. The male to female transitioners can't win in sports, so they're jumping into the women's sports and ruining women's records. Why is this happening? What is going on here? If you're paying attention to what I'm paying attention to, what I'm seeing with this whole situation, and this is the reason why I'm strictly against bathrooms being swapped or anybody being allowed to be in any bathroom they want. Okay? I was born way back when, in the 80s. Like, there was the men's room, the women's room, and that's it. There was no women's room, men's room, family room, this room, that room. There was none of those rooms. Cumberland Farms, one of the biggest franchise corner stores in New England. I don't know if they're across the United States, but one of those stores do not have men's and women on their bathrooms anymore. Why? It's because they're getting on top of the trends. All right? And then now we're sitting here and we're seeing men who can't make it in their sport claim they're magically transitioning to a woman and they're destroying women in their own sports. Do you see the pattern here? See, what happened was you got propaganded so much in your head that you thought that this transgender thing was oh my God, we need to care about these people, when you don't actually realize you have to unwrap the whole package to understand what's the actual truth of the situation. What's going on here with the male to female transitions is we are literally taking women's rights and slapping them back into the 1800s. Does anybody realize that? No, you guys don't realize that because you're like, oh my God, pride, pride, pride. That's what you guys are worried about. Pride community. Oh, the gay community. That's what you're worried about. But you don't realize that with these male to female transitioners joining women's sports, invading their locker rooms and their private spaces now because they quote unquote can, because they identify as a woman. Hell, I could walk into a woman's room right now wearing what I'm wearing, a sweater with my fucking beard, and be like, I identify as a woman, so I'm coming in the woman's room. And I'm going to walk right into the woman's room and go piss. I can do that. And you've seen several videos of people doing that to prove a point. But nobody sees the point. You guys just think that the community's just insulting you. Or you're getting insulted. That's not the point. What we are doing right now with especially, and it's not the female to male transitions, because the female to male transitions are a completely different situation. They feel like they're men. They want to actually be men. And that's it. Okay? And I know several people that are like that. Okay? But the male to female transitioners are one of two things. people that actually think they should be a woman, which is what we call, is actually a brain issue. Ask Blair White about that. I'm pretty sure she could tell you what the truth is about that situation. You know, and it's gender dysphoria is what that is. And there's actually men that are trying to be women that do have gender dysphoria. Okay? And then there's the group of men that are like, I want to go see some fucking pussy. So I'm going to say that I'm a woman to walk into a woman's bathroom, to walk into a woman's locker room. I'm going to go ruin their sports. So when I'm in their sports, I can sit there and ruin their records and then be able to see them naked in their locker room. Because I'm telling you one thing right now, whether you're transitioning or not, you cannot hide a boner, and I don't give a shit. That was very offensive. I don't care. You can't hide a boner. It just doesn't work like that. Okay? And whether you're a male to female transition, it doesn't matter. You still have a boner. And most of these transition men are male to female transitions are having boners when they go into the women's locker rooms. Nobody says anything about it. 12-year-olds are seeing fucking dongs in the corner, and nobody's saying anything about it. They're standing there like, oh my God, we got to make sure we're polite to this community. What? No, I'm sorry. I cannot get on board with that situation. Stay in your own bathrooms, bro. Just stay in your own bathroom. If you come into the men's room with a fucking dress on and say that you're a male to female transition, fine. Do what you gotta do. Alright? I may sneak a look at your boobs, but do what you gotta do. You know what I mean? But stay out of the women's stuff. Stay out of the women's sports. Stay out of the women's bathrooms. Give me a break. We have never, ever had this kind of a debate on bathrooms, ever. And that's not even touching the surface. And then we got people that are running for president right now. Let's move on to another subject because I'm done ranting on that part of the community. So now we're going to move on to the other subject that I mentioned previously in the beginning of the stream, was the Ron DeSantis, Nikki Haley effect, okay? Now, if you realize one thing, Ron DeSantis is way behind Donald Trump, and so is Nikki Haley. The issue is now they just dropped several more points. And you know why they dropped several more points? Because they said the one thing that nobody wanted to hear. All the, what you people want to call the MAGA Republicans, whatever, to me, just people that are, want their rights, and that's it. You know what I mean? Just common, normal, everyday Americans that work their ass off to try and pay for what they got. You know what I mean? Like bills and whatnot, okay? But Ron DeSantis made one big mistake. Now, I was okay. I'm like, all right, Ron DeSantis run president, another Republican. We may have a better chance with him, because everybody hates Donald Trump. You know what I mean? We got people like Pete Buttigieg grounding Donald Trump's flights. Right now, currently, from the last news, I don't gotta check and see if this is actually the truth, but from the last news that I looked at, Pete Buttigieg grounded Donald Trump. He can't fly anywhere with his plane. Now, I'm going to have to look this up, or somebody tweet to me if this is the truth, because I need to know if this is the truth, because this is retarded. And if you want to tweet me from any other platform, it is at Mass Conservative on Twitter. That's what you can do. That's my handle. You can message me there. And I need to know this information, because if Mayor Pete Buttigieg decided to ground Donald Trump's plane, then what that is, that's tyranny. Disguised as Donald Trump is a threat when he's not. I don't know where Donald Trump's a threat. I think Donald Trump's a threat to the establishment. That is the issue. And the establishment doesn't want to get offended, God forbid. You know what I mean? As they wear their gay pride flags, and our House Speaker can't seem to put a fucking American flag on his shirt, has to wear the Ukrainian flag every 5 minutes. Every time I see that fucking guy, he has the Ukrainian flag on him. No American flag anywhere, the Ukrainian flag, but he's working for the United States. Figure that one out. Just shows you how establishment people are. It's pathetic. And what Ron DeSantis said wrong, which totally turned me off for Ron DeSantis and Nikki Haley, was they want Ukraine to win the war. That was the biggest fuck up those two could do. Okay, now Donald Trump's stance on that simply is he wants to get them to the table, make them reach an agreement, stop the killing, stop the war in general. That's what he wants to do. No winners, no losers. He wants to stop the war, make it so they can find an agreement somewhere and stop fighting in general. Stop firing missiles at each other, stop killing their civilians, everything. That's what Donald Trump wants to do. Ron DeSantis, on the other hand, is going to do, as he clearly stated, is he's going to do everything he can to make sure Ukraine wins the war. And then Nikki Haley countered and said the same thing, said that we want to make sure that Ukraine wins the war. Okay, what that tells me right there, Ron DeSantis, Nikki Haley, establishment Republicans, that's what they are. So therefore, because they're establishment Republicans, they are not getting my vote at all in any sort of way. It's not going to happen. Because what that proves to me is you're literally establishment Republicans that want to keep the war machine going so the war people that make the weapons can continue to, the military-industrial complex can continue to make money left and right, and then Ron DeSantis and Nikki Haley will get their little kickbacks. You know what I mean? And I can guarantee you that he's going to reverse that that quote-unquote don't say gay bill, the Parental Rights Act. I can guarantee you he's going to reverse that. And I can guarantee you Nikki Haley will do the same thing. They will reverse anything that they did there because they are establishment Republicans and they proved the point today. Just making those statements, they prove the point that they are establishment Republicans that want to keep the war machine running. And I'm not a fan of it. I'm not a fan of it. That means to me, Ron DeSantis and Nikki Haley are Democrats. That's it. Democrats used to be the party that's against war. Now you guys love it. I don't know why. I don't understand it. You guys are pretty evil and pretty sick if you guys like watching people get killed over and over again in those two countries. It's amazing that you guys want to keep up wars everywhere so you can see more and more people die. And what that proves to me is you're on the level with Bill Gates, trying to destroy the population of the world, or lower the population of the world. And I can guarantee you Bill Gates is probably donating to Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis' campaign. But what can you do? What can you do? We knew this was going to happen. We knew Ron DeSantis shouldn't have ran in general, period, because Donald Trump's way far ahead of him right now. Way far. And his statements, especially his launch video saying he was running for president, he had no intentions on running for president at all. He said he wanted to keep Florida going. He wanted to continue his work in Florida. So why is he running for president? Someone made him run. That's why. Someone gave him a bunch of money and said, here, run. Nikki Haley, same way. Gave her a bunch of money. Please run. So they can use them to try and get against Donald Trump. But the problem is they're about 30, 40, 50 points behind Donald Trump anyways. So it's not helping. It's not helping. And, I'm not a fan. I'm a fan of what Ron DeSantis is doing for Florida. That's it. I'm not a fan of him being president after that one statement. That one statement turned me away from even thinking about voting for him. And the same thing with Nikki Haley. I enjoyed her in the beginning, but once she said that, that's it. Turned me away from even thinking about voting for her. There's no way I would vote for her in general. Any of them. Now, I'm good. I'm good. They can go back to their states and just go to hell, as far as I'm concerned. You know what I mean? But, whatever. You guys tell me what you think in the comment section. You know what I mean? I know most people aren't watching the stream right now. Nobody watches the streams ever. Every time I go live, nobody watches. But then they watch the videos later. I got a ton of views later. It's weird. You know what I mean? Because I think it's new because I don't usually go live with this page. You know what I mean? But I'm just saying, you know what I mean? There's a lot of things going on. And the faster you people open up your eyes, the better things are going to be. You know what I mean? But you guys won't open your eyes. You turn a blind eye to what X parts of the gay community are trying to do. You guys turn a blind eye to everybody that's trying to infiltrate the gay community, which means the MAPS people and everything. You guys are just turning a blind eye to it. we were supposed to protect the gay community. Right now, what we're doing to the gay community is adding pedophiles. What do you think a MAP is? What do you think a MAP is? Everybody's like, oh, it's just a term. It's something. It's got nothing to do with anything. No, it's minor attracted person. What they did was they took the word pedophilia and threw it on its head and then gave it a new word. So they could get themselves into the gay community. Yes, that's what's trying to happen right now. MAP people, minor attracted people, are trying to get into the gay community to be protected so they can have sex with your children. And does that sound rough? It does sound rough. And I hope you fucking believe me that I hope you enjoy how rough that is in your head and how hurtful that is. There are people in the gay community that don't belong in the gay community that are trying to fuck your children. And you're not, just turn a blind eye to it because you're like, oh, it's the gay community. We don't want to get them mad. The gay community has been through hell. Because all these weird fucking things and genders are joining the gay community, and the gay community, the original LGBT community, is like, whoa, what's going on? You know what I mean? Whoa, they can't even keep up with what's going on. The original gay community is the Gays Against Groomers people. That's the original gay community. Not this weird Generation Z, X, millennial bullshit that's going on right now. You don't get it. You guys are turning a blind eye to all this crap. You turn a blind eye to, that's what I think I'm going to call this. I'm going to call this Blind Eye. That's what I'm going to call this episode. You guys are turning a blind eye to everything that Biden's doing. The 400 and something executive orders that he signed on day one that nobody saw because nobody wanted to pay attention. The fucking fact that he's fallen 10 million times. Nobody's paying attention to that. But Donald Trump slips down a ramp and everybody thinks he's unfit for office. Okay? Joe Biden, the president of the United States, has magnets on his shoes so he doesn't lose his balance. Come on, people. He literally has magnets on his shoes so he doesn't lose balance. Give me a break. And he didn't even fucking campaign. He sat in his basement and won the election. Literally. And you guys turn a blind eye to it because like, oh my God, Donald Trump and his mean tweets. You guys are so fucking worried about mean tweets that you don't understand that the whole wool is being pulled over your eyes. The wool is being pulled over to the gay community's eyes. The gay community is getting fucked in the ass, not in the good way. You know what I mean? Because everybody's trying to join their community that are sick, twisted people. Like you're trying to get MAPs are trying to join your community. We need to put light on this, guys. MAPs, minor attracted persons, are trying to join the gay community so they can be protected. And so pedophilia can be legalized. That's the thing. So who cares if Jeffrey Epstein killed himself or if he got shot in the head or whatever happened to Jeffrey Epstein? Seems like all the MAP people are Jeffrey Epsteins. And they're just joining the community, and the gay community's like, the new gay community's like, sure, we need to protect them too. So when your 5-year-old daughter gets raped by one of them, don't yell at me. I just warned you ahead of time. You know what I mean? What can I say? You don't want to listen to us. You don't want to listen to anybody on the conservative side. You don't want to listen to anybody that's got anything to do with the Republican side at all, because you think we're like the devil. Like I'm the devil. I mean, my picture on Twitter does make me look like the devil. But I'm literally, like, trying to stress this stuff to you guys. Then we got 2 Republican candidates that want to extend the war in Ukraine so that the military-industrial complex can keep making money. And you guys think Ron DeSantis and Nikki Haley are the greatest. Give me a break, guys. I've seen tweets all day of people saying, oh my God, I can't believe it. Ron DeSantis is amazing. Amazing? He wants to continue the war in Ukraine. He wants to continue it. Biden started it. He wants to continue it. It's entertaining. And the only reason why Biden started it or even started getting involved in it is because it had everything to do with his son. Because he wanted to protect his stupid pedophile son. His MAP son. You know what I mean? He's a minor attracted person. Let him in the community. Make sure he's all right. You know what I mean? Protect him. Protect him with all your might. You know what I mean? You guys are blinded to everything that's going on right now. You're not paying attention to anything. And I'm standing on the outside the box from a different perspective than you people. I'm totally in a different perspective. Like sometimes I sound like a Democrat, sometimes I sound like a Republican, but I'm looking at it from that perspective. I look at all this crap going on from an independent perspective. That's why. I'm not right-leaning, I'm not left-leaning. I'm an independent Republican. That's literally what I am. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sitting here looking at this from both sides. And the only thing our Congress is doing about all this stuff right now is, well, one, Democrats are all wearing pride flags. Two, most of the Republicans are wearing Ukraine flags, which we know those are the rhinos because they want to keep the war going on. You know what I mean? And you guys are just standing there just like, oh, God, yeah. What's the newest trend? Okay, dress like a girl. I guess that's the newest trend. Every man, get on a dress and go on into the woman's room. Enjoy it. Watch those boobies. Worst part about that is you could just go to a website. There's 10 million of them. I could give you a list of porn websites you could go to where you could see that stuff instead of going into the women's room. But you're like, I got to throw a dress on so I can win something. And that's what I think about all the transgender men that have gone into women's sports. I suck at my life. I suck at everything I do. I can't win anything. So I'm going to go send women's rights back to the Stone Age. Nobody cares about that either. You guys don't care that every time a new transgender, male to female transitioner goes into a woman's sport, it sets the women's rights back another 100 years. And nobody cares. Thought you guys cared about feminism. Clearly you don't. I'll never understand you guys. But it's been fun. It's like 47 minutes. You know, we'll see what happens with the thing. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Go check the Twitter space. I mean, you're probably going to miss me now because once it ends, I don't think it stays on there. So you're not going to be able to hear it. So I put the link. I'll tweet out the links to where the videos are so you can go to them. It's on Rumble. They're on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. Yeah, Twitch. I had to switch it to just chatting, though, just to make sure everything is going through. So I hope I gave you a bunch of things to think about right now and let you realize that one, these are the things that I said that I taught you in this video. One, the gay community is being infiltrated from all ends by MAPS and crazy transgender women or transgender male to female that want to go and just want to be able to go into a woman's locker room. You know what I mean? And then we have two people who are now confirmed rhino Republicans. Republican in name only is what that means. And then we have a complete debacle where Hunter Biden, all the pictures of him doing stuff with minors are now online. You guys turned a blind eye to that. And the fact that Joe Biden has magnets on his shoes. You turned a blind eye to that as well. All because, literally, you guys are turning a blind eye to this shit because of what? Mean tweets? You're fucking pathetic. But, whatever. You do what you're gonna do. You be who you're gonna be. But, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll catch